In the 17th century, the Netherlands was actively engaged in exploration, colonization, and trade throughout all regions of the globe, and Dutch publishers were busy keeping up with a growing internal demand for travel accounts, illustrations, and maps. This map of Japan, published for the first time in 1715, shows one of Holland's newest commercial partners. The Tokugawa shoguns, who ruled Japan since the early 1600s, had decided that European merchants and missionaries were a bad lot, but the Dutch were the least troublesome. They were perceived as hard-headed businessmen only interested in trade. Even so, they were foreigners who needed to be quarantined and their contact with the Japanese people severely limited. As a result, trade with the Dutch was confined to one island in Nagasaki harbor. Adrian Reland, a scholar of Oriental languages in Utrecht, compiled this map from a variety of available sources. For the map of the country's 66 provinces, he used a Japanese map by Ishikawa Ryusen that he had borrowed from a former director of the Dutch East India Company. This is the first time that Sino-Japanese characters appeared on a Western map. The inset of Nagasaki was derived from a Dutch chart of the harbor where all their commercial transactions took place. The other images were culled from travel accounts of Japan by Western authors. Reland relied most heavily on Arnoldus Montanus for his imagery. Some illustrations are copied quite faithfully, as in the fishing scene. Greater freedom is taken with the scene with a sedan chair and the servant holding a parasol over his mistress. Reland included one image also borrowed from Montanus, but it is actually an image which accompanies a description of how the Tartars in China pay homage to deceased Khans. Other ornamental elements, the samurai, the pagoda, the family crests, add more notes of exoticism to the map. The ceramics displayed so prominently in front of the dedication represent one of the chief reasons that Dutch merchants traveled 10,000 miles across dangerous seas. For a long time, they were one of the most lucrative items of the Asia trade. You don't often see maps dedicated to librarians, but Reland's map is dedicated to Jean-Paul Bignon, the royal librarian to Louis XIV. During his tenure as librarian, Bignon actively corresponded with many merchants, missionaries, and diplomats, and apparently he was very generous in sharing his collection with scholars.